This is the box for the new Formex Snap Lock chicken coop. It's a larger model, which is big enough for 12 to 15 full-size birds. Now it's about 60 pounds, so a little bit heavier than the smaller one, but if you think about it, the smaller one weighs about 40 pounds, and it fits 5 birds, so you can fit 3 times the birds for only 20 more pounds in weight. So it's actually, if you think about it, it's actually a nice design. The box it comes in, I mean, you can see this is the whole thing. It's not very big. One person can move it around. It's a little heavy if you're trying to pick the whole thing up. If you're just sliding it around, it's pretty easy to move around. I also built wheels for the coop. I like to move my chickens around in a paddock shift method. So I went ahead and built a frame which is 36 inches by 39 inches wide. And I put on I just pulled some old used caster wheels that I had from another piece of equipment. These are not the best wheels, but the fact that the coop is so light, I can use subpar wheels that aren't very expensive and still be able to push the coop around relatively easy. So the coop took me about an hour and 15 minutes to put together, maybe an hour and a half. Definitely more complicated than the smaller coop, which was super easy. I think I put it together in like 25 minutes. Now this one was a little bit more difficult. I had a little bit of trouble getting the roof on. This whole roof section has to be put on and it has to be lined up and snapped in, and I actually ended up, as I was trying to bang it into place, I bent a little bit of the plastic in it, so a couple of the snaps were catching on the plastic, which was not letting it snap into place. So what I ended up having to do was basically file out a little bit of the plastic where it had bent, and then I was able to finally get it into place okay. So when you're doing this, just watch for those corners. If it doesn't go in right, you'll want to check and see if you've got anything that's sort of bent. And sometimes that happens with the walls. You have these little grooves, and sometimes if they're bent one way or the other, they won't snap into place right. So you have to kind of watch for that. And I did that a couple times, and I just sort of bent it back and banged it into place with a rubber mallet, and it worked well. Now some of the pieces you can just bang together with your hands, but some of the other pieces it definitely helps to have a rubber mallet. And this is actually the only, apart from the file, to file a little bit of the plastic down, this was the only tool that I used. So this is the nesting box on the front side of the coop. And to open this up, you just have to release the latch and open it up, and there's 2 nests in here. I usually use straw or wood chips, whichever is cheaper and available, as a nesting material, and also as the bedding on the interior. And the nice thing about wood chips and straw is that you mix it with their manure, and you can pull the stuff out really easy and add it to your fertilizer, or add it to as fertilizer for your garden or your compost pile, or however you want to do it. One thing that I actually don't normally use the little locks, locks they give you for the nest, because I noticed that there's actually a little tension because this seems to pull up. So if I were to try to pull this little latch, it's kind of hard. I mean, I can do it, but I'm thinking if I were a raccoon, I'd probably have a tough time with that. But to release it, all you have to do is push down, and it comes up really easy. And same thing when you put it back, you just release it, and then there's tension there. I don't know if they meant to do that, but that's kind of a nice feature. So this will give you a good look of the interior of the coop. Now, I really like the fact that you can just lift the roof up. Now you can lock it. They give you the little locks for it, so you don't have to worry about predators, but it's nice to be able to, it's definitely not something you'd be able to do in a wood coop, is just lift the roof up like this and be able to see what's going on, be able to access it really, really easily. And another cool thing is they actually have the 3 roosting bars, and you can actually set them at different levels. So I actually set them at these 3 different levels, but this one down here, the low one, there's a higher height, and this one in the middle you can set at 3 different heights, and then the last one actually you can only set up at the very, very highest. But that actually is cool. And if you only had 6 or 7 chickens and you didn't want them to be roosting really close to your nesting boxes, you could take the other bars out, and it definitely gives you some flexibility. But I would recommend, since it's not like you're going to be opening the roof very often, I would recommend that you definitely lock the roof up. So this is the side, and this is where they have the spring-loaded door. So this would be where your chickens would come in and out. And I have it on wheels, so it sits up a little higher, and they're going to have absolutely no problems just hopping up in there. I mean, that's not a very high setting for them at all. And again, you have another lock. You have an awning, which is nice. You have your vents here, which are nice. Now these, I noticed that the vents are a little bit tighter than the vents on my smaller coupe, but you know what? I don't really have a problem with them. I actually prefer it to be a little bit, the plastic to be a little tighter in here, mainly because you're only going to be changing the vents out, you know, twice a year. So in some, you know, once it gets warm, I'll open the vents up, and then once it gets cold, I'll shut it down. This is just the back end where there's just another nesting box, just like identical to the front nesting box. This is the opposite side to the door. And again, there's another vent over here. And in the summertime, you want to open up this one and the other one so you can get a good cross breeze. But what's cool about this part is that you can, basically all you do here is just pull this up and down. That comes right out. And then you have your trays. So this is where you're going to put all your, you know, your wood chips, your straw, or whatever you want to put in there. And once it's, you know, sufficiently dirty that you want to add it to your compost pile or to your garden or to your, you know, your food forest swales, whatever it is, just pull this out and just take it and dump it. So really, really simple to do. You can also pull out the trays for the nesting boxes. You could reach around. I mean, I could reach around here and just pull them out like that, but it's actually easier. It's actually slightly easier, I think, to pull them directly from the nesting box. But that's one thing I really like about the Snap Lock plastic chicken coops, is that they're really easy to clean. And nobody likes to clean a chicken coop, that's for sure. And the one thing I really like about it is I don't really look at it as cleaning as much as taking the fertility and being able to put it to use in the garden without actually really having to clean the coop. All I'm doing really is just pulling the trays out, dumping all the fertility that I'm not losing, and it's not contaminating their pasture. When Formex came out with the Snap Lock chicken coop, the smaller one, I really thought that was the best value on the market as far as chicken coops go. There's nothing out there that could beat them as far as, not, you know, obviously the price was good, but if you look at other coops that were cheaper, they were, you know, wooden coops that are going to fall apart, or they weren't able to be moved around. They were very difficult to clean and very difficult to put together. So I think that they really hit a home run with the smaller coop as far as for backyard chicken keepers with a small flock. Now, this larger coop, in my opinion, as much as I like the smaller one, I think this one's a much better value, because here you have a price difference of, you know, the smaller coop was $450, larger coop is $695, so we're talking $245 more for a coop that's going to hold three times as many chickens. So you're getting 3 times the production for, you know, what, maybe 30%, 35% higher cost. And but you're getting the same benefits. You get a coop that's going to last forever. You're never going to have to replace it. You're never going to have to do maintenance on it. You're not going to have to worry about mites. You're going to be able to clean it very easily. You're going to be able to pull that stuff out and use that fertility. You're going to be able to access the nesting boxes really easy to put on wheels, easy to push around. You know, I don't really know what else you can really say other than I think if you've got a flock of anywhere between 6 and 15 chickens, I think this is definitely the way to go.